persecutor. And the scripture verse or memory verse for today is Revelation 13:16. And it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." Did they give you a book? So you got one book? Okay. All right. So we are on Revelations 13, starting at verse 11. So if...
But another beast in another territory, the earth. The first came up from the sea, waters being the symbol of multitudes and nations. Revelation 17:15. The second, another beast, was seen coming up out of the earth, a new territory in the prophetic field. The prophecy indicates the time of its arising, when the other beast was going into captivity in the days of 1792 through 1798. The place is new territory in the prophecy, a practically uninhabited land. The manner of his coming up indicates a growing up peacefully as a plant grows. There was no power of prominence rising in the world at that time save the United States of America. G.E. Townsend in the New World Compared with the Old, page 462, speak of America as coming forth from vacancy. And on page 635, referring to America, he says, like a silent seed, it grew into an empire. All right, so the answer to the question is, he beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Yes. Yep. And then, did anybody have anything to add with that? If not, I got something. So it says, "Since this is another beast coming up out of the earth, it must be found in some territory not covered by any other symbols. Babylon and Medo-Persia covered all the civilized part of Asia. Greece covered Eastern Europe, including Russia. Rome with the 10 kingdoms into which it was divided, as represented by the 10 toes of the image of Daniel 2, and the 10 horns of the fourth beast of Daniel 7, the 10 horns of the dragon of Revelation 12, and the 10 horns of the leopard beast of Revelation 13. So all those representations are just of the 10, which it was talking about the 10 nations or powers, covered all of Western Europe and also Mexico, Central, and South America. So of all the symbols mentioned, one alone, the two-horned beast of Revelation 13, is left. And of all the countries of the earth respecting which any reasons exist why they should be mentioned in prophecy, one alone, the United States of America, remains. Another consideration pointing to the locality of this power is drawn from the fact that John saw it arising from the earth. If the sea from which the leopard beast arose, Revelation 13:1, denotes people, nations, and multitudes, then Revelation 17:15, the earth would suggest, by contrast, a new and previously unoccupied territory. And that's from Smith, DR, page 575.
It's some stuff at the bottom of in our Bible.
Okay.
Talks about it too.
You want to read that?
It says 13:11, a unique symbol. Here's a striking figure of the rise and growth of our own nation and the lamb-like horns, in emblems of innocence and gentleness, will represent the character of our government as expressed in its two fundamental principles, republicanism and Protestantism. Then it says shield of omnipotence over America. The United States is a land that has been under the special shield of our omnipotent one. God has done great things for this country, but in the transgression of his law, men have been doing a work originated by the man of sin. Satan is working out his designs to involve the human family in disloyalty. The prospect before us, prophecy represent Protestantism as having lamb-like horns, but speaking like a dragon. Already we are beginning to hear the voice of the dragon. There is a satanic force propelling the Sunday movement, but it is concealed. Even the men who are engaged in the work are themselves blinded to the results which will follow their movement. Let not the commandment keeping people of God be silent at this time, as though we gracefully accepted the situation. There is the prospect before us of waging a continuous war at the risk of imprisonment or losing property and even life itself to defend the law of God, which is being made void by the laws of men.
That's good. Thank you. Anybody want to add to it? Yes. Okay, you want to do next number 2? Okay.
What was his characteristic? Verse 11, second part. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, and note 2. The 2 horns like a lamb. This is immediate representative of 2 fundamental principles upon which the new public was founded. These principles are: first, the equality of man; second, the freedom of conscience in religion, to choose or to refuse. These principles are Christianity alone of all religions, religious, and was set forth in those times in an organic document of the United States alone of all government. Therefore, the prophecy points to the United States alone as coming up as the specified time and being a specified characteristic. To speak as a dragon is to enact opposite persecuting law as the dragon did. Revelation 12:13-5. This is an after development. The power was to be lied in high profession and to become a persecution.
Okay. All right. And then I got something that was talking about like a lamb. So had 2 horns like a lamb. The age of this power. It says there is good evidence to show that the government symbolized by the 2-horned beast is introduced into prophecy in the early part of its career, that it is when first brought to view a youthful power. John's words are, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb." Why does John simply say he had 2 horns? Why does he add like a lamb? It must be for the purpose of denoting the character of this beast, showing that it is not only of a very innocent and harmless demeanor, ostensibly, but also that it is a very youthful power. For the horns of a lamb are horns that have just begun to grow. Bear in mind that by the preceding argument or on chronology, our gaze is fixed to the year 1798, and the power symbolized was then a youthful power according to the present argument. Question: what notable power was at the time coming into prominence, but still in its youth? England was not, nor was France, nor Russia, nor any European power. For a young rising power at that epoch, we are obliged to turn our eyes to the New World. But as soon as we return them to this continent, they rest inevitably upon the country as the power in question. No other power this side of the ocean is entitled to any mention in comparison with it, which is talking about the United States. And that's from Smith DR 459 and 460. Let's see. Somebody like to take question 3.
What authority he exercised? Verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That's it. Note 2.
3.
Note 3. Thank you. Not before him in the sense of time, but in his sight, in his presence. This is the two-horned beast exercised in his own domain all the authority that the first beast did and, and does in his domain. The question is, the beast exercised the same power as the first beast exercised.
Right. All the power of the first beast. Okay. And I've got a short excerpt from Great Controversy. It says, through the two great errors, the immortality of the soul and Sunday sacredness, Satan will bring the people under his deceptions. While the former lays the foundation of spiritualism, the latter creates a bond of sympathy with Rome. The Protestants of the United States will be foremost in stretching their hands across the gulf to grasp the hand of spiritualism. They will reach over the abyss to clasp hands with the Roman power. And under the influence of this threefold union, this country will follow in the steps of Rome in trampling on the rights of conscience. That's Great Controversy 588. So do y'all see that now happening?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know in your Revelation, do you have, it says two powers work together, and it shows a picture of President Obama in the middle.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
It's
Obama in the middle.
got a picture of the Pope, and I don't know who the other guy is, but then it's got President Obama right in the middle.
Who helps to heal
the deadly wound.
deadly wound. You know, each preceding and succeeding president does that.
Right. And the other one, the other guy was the one that helped provide the wound. So was that from France?
Yeah, it talks about atheism gave deadly wound.
Uh-huh.
So atheism, and you know, they gave the deadly wound. I guess they're going back to who gave the deadly wound.
Mm-hmm.
Was, back in 1798.
1798, yeah. Okay.
I thought I was.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't have a picture of Reagan there.
He was
He was the first one who met with the Pope like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you want to take question 4?
Oh.
Might as well.
Question 4. How did he exercise this authority? Verse 12, second part, and I'll read note 4. As the first beast compelled the worship, page 56, as the first beast compelled the worship of the dragon by enforcing his principles, so the two-horned beast causes the worship of the first beast by enforcing the principles of that beast. Note also that it is the restored first beast, for his deadly wound was healed. And asks, how did he, okay, verse 12, second part. And causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So I asked the question, how did he exercise this authority? I put to worship the first beast, enforcing. I got in parentheses, enforcing. And I wanted to read this from the commentary.
Okay.
SDA commentary. It says, it talks about the change in policy would doubtless come in innocently. Repeated attempts have been made to enact stricter laws enforcing Sunday as a rest day. Earlier on religious, more recently on so-called social grounds, penalizing observers of another day. Innocent as it may seem, any attempt to regulate a religious day by law violates the fundamental principles of religious liberty. This prophecy predicts that Sunday, an institution of the papacy, will one day be enforced by law under threat of economic sanctions and worse for those who keep the Sabbath. That's what we got to prepare for. That's where everything's heading right now.
All right. Let's see. I also had something to go along with it too, which is let's see, the second part, causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. The statement that the beast with 2 horns causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast indicates excuse me, that the authority of this nation is to be exercised in enforcing some observance which shall be an act of homage to the papacy. Such action would be directly contrary to the principles of this government, to the genius of its free institutions, to the direct and solemn avowals of the Declaration of Independence, and to the Constitution. The founders of the nation wisely sought to guard against the employment of secular power on the part of the church, with its inevitable result, intolerance and persecution. The Constitution provides that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, and that no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of public trust under the United States. Only in flagrant violation of these safeguards to the nation's liberty can any religious observance be enforced by civil authority. But the inconsistency of such action is no greater than is represented in the symbol. It is the beast with lamb-like horns, in profession pure, gentle, and harmless, that speaks as a dragon. And that's Great Controversy 442. So it seems like part of this, what they were talking about from the Constitution and the and the Declaration of Independence, that is slowly slipping away.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's where lines are being blurred and erased. What'd she say?
You know, what we see in government today is representative of Rome.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as, like all these things are being passed, it's like as soon as someone speaks out about it, it's like they suppress it. It's like you're foolish.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's what they just want us, sit down and just go along with the program. And that's what we see. That's all we see in government and anything. And whenever, what they call it, conspiracy theorists.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what are you talking about? Rome?
Right.
The Pope? How dare you?
Yeah.
That's a man of, that man is holy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you bring it out, point it out, people look at you, but they know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them know what they're doing, what they're, how they're being. But then there's a lot of them that don't know neither. They don't even realize or recognize it. Because the average person, how can they even see the great United States of America oppressing people?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't worship on Sunday, first day of the week, then no buy, no sale. I mean, the average person can't even comprehend that.
Right.
But we realize it, and we're supposed to be letting people know, educating people of what's coming, because they can see it little by little.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just how they try to downtrodden anyone or any group that tries to say anything against it.
Yeah.
When they've admitted it themselves, it makes it so bad.
Yeah. And even, go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even by things coming along so subtly, that the changes is like the frog in the pot, the boiling. Yeah.
You reminded me of what happened during COVID. Like before that, almost all people would never think that the country would be doing things against our Constitution, that our Constitution is so strong and, noble and that's something we can count on, But when they did what they did during COVID, you could tell that that's not the way it is.
Right.
The governments and the powers that be are willing to go against the Constitution for their prerogatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had an agenda during that, and it didn't matter what we thought.
Right. Yeah.
But there were a lot of people that woke up during that time,
Mm-hmm.
because of that.
I think a lot did too. Because going against your own liberty and your conscience of what you know to be right, and then you see somebody completely oppressing it. Yeah, it's got to wake people up. Yes.
It was also a time for the church to take a stand also, and
that kind of
they
failed.
completely dropped the ball.
Yeah.
You said kind of failed?
No, not kinda.
Yeah.
They completely dropped the ball.
Yeah, they did.
And who ended up standing was a Sunday preacher,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
don't
They
even get me started.
ended up going to jail. Yeah.
COVID was just a great test. It was a test. Some people, it's not the mark of the beast, no, it was a test
Yeah.
to help us to realize who's gonna stand and who's gonna fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a test that continues, and in a great way, we failed that test,
Mm-hmm.
and there's another test coming. Of course, we know.
Right.
It's leading up to the test.
Right. And it's like the ultimate test. What are we gonna do?
Right.
And if a lot of people took the jab ignorantly. I will admit that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were like, I don't see how we had an excuse, but a lot did, because they weren't being taught anything else in the churches
Mm-hmm.
that our bodies are a temple.
Exactly.
They weren't taught that.
They were telling us to take it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were having, matter of fact, some of the churches were inoculation points.
Mhm.
You know, come get your jab and
So that you can get
get
money.
and make it so bad. Yeah, I give you some money. I give you some Krispy Kreme donuts. I give you some coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, come to the bar. I give you a beer
Mhm.
free. I mean, there were all sorts
Yeah.
of things they were doing, and it seemed like someone would ask the question, say, "Wait a minute now, why this one they offering so much? I can go get me some sugar snacks. I can go get me a drink. I can get a little money where I can get me a few groceries. Man, I'm going to take it." And everyone that comes along,
No, I was talking about the church.
well,
Was
yeah,
offering the pastors
the
to make sure
Right.
their whole congregation
percentages.
got the.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So it's just a testing that we're all dealing with, and these tests are little small ones.
Right.
But this COVID, we saw it. The same. I'll never forget that Sabbath that everything was shut down.
Mhm.
I'll never forget it. That one Sabbath, I told my wife, I said, we're gonna take a ride. So we got in the car that Sabbath morning and we rode over there. Those familiar with Paris Avenue, ABC store, the doors are swinging back and forth, and forth. And I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I can't go to church, but I can go get all the alcohol I want.
Right.
No, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
And then the following Sabbath, we just say, hey, everybody want to come, just come on, we'll do a great controversy study.
Yeah.
Because that just like, no, that doesn't even make sense.
I mean, to see all the exceptions that were out there at that time, I mean, that should have woke people up right there. Just to say, oh yeah, it's acceptable to do that, but you can't do this. And it's the same type of format or whatever, same type of scenario. And also, when you're talking about just being a test, you have to think of along the lines now, yeah, they were seeing where, oh, well, yeah, we still don't have it to the point where we can have more control over the people. So, yeah, now we're trying to get all the financial stuff down to a digital type system. So, yeah, we'll have control over that. And even cameras where we can track you everywhere, which I hate to say it, but I'm actually a part of that because I install cameras all the time with my business. But, you know, police are going to be able to have access to people's systems to be able to track people's camera movement or movement on cameras. So it's just little by little things are coming into play to where people that are in power are going to have more power and control over us.
And it's not just cameras.
Yeah.
Every time when you're using your, cell phone or computer, they know what you talk, they know what you watch, they know your interest. Then today they know about you everything. You cannot hide anything today. That's it.
Right.
That's it. If something happened, if they know what you do, not that majority of what will do, you'll be cut off.
Yeah, and even our vehicles, how they've got GPS trackers on them.
Yes.
And kill switches and stuff like that. Yeah, and that was put into law years and years ago about having GPS on all the new vehicles. And now they're getting to the point to where they're having kill switches on them, to where the companies can actually control,
Turn them off.
turn them off whenever you need to. All right.
So I drive older vehicles.
Yeah.
Also during COVID, the thing that was just plain as day to me, it was as a red flag, is you hear about, you know, in politics and stuff, them talking about medicines and stuff, how, oh, we got to bring the price down. So people that are on prescriptions, it's expensive for some of them, stuff like that. But yet this was free. So when something's free, I tend to worry and say, maybe I don't want it if it's, you know. It didn't seem right. Oh, you're going to give this to everybody, but other stuff they need, you know, they have to pay.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It was free because they wanted to give you something that wasn't good.
Yeah.
If it was something good, it wouldn't be free.
True.
I got a comment back
Yes.
here.
And I was going to say at that time, the ones who didn't get it, they were just ostracized
Mhm.
and treated like nothing, because that's how I was treated at work.
Yes.
And like I told them at work, I says, I'm not taking it. You can fire me, do whatever you need to do, but I'm not taking it.
Right.
And I said, the Lord will provide. And I had even had a real close friend that turned against me and stopped speaking to me and stopped, just treated me, But then still, I would come in, speak, just do everything. But now it's different. She's back,
Right.
But I asked, did I do anything to you? No. And she said she was just going through a lot at that time.
Yeah.
So still, I had, people treat you different. I'm saying it was things that I had to go through that other people didn't have to go through at work. And I called them out and I told them, this is the reason why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, but I'll do whatever I need to. That's why I told them with a smile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, people form so many opinions by the things that they continually hear and what they feed on. Because I know several people, especially people in my family, listen to the news constantly. And that's what they fed on, the fear that they were trying to implant.
And then a lot of them that took it tells me now, I should have listened to you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. After years of the information finally coming out.
A bunch of people.
Yeah.
But it's not just they listen to you, you listen to God. There is problems. We need to listen to God, because I remember when we live in a Virginia. I mean, it was in a monitor. You must have
big road signs.
you must have this job, or you wear a mask, or please don't come to the church if you don't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean at the church? In the church.
Yeah, in the church, yeah. And unfortunately, even people that I know, they really were spiritual, really spiritual. I mean, you can see it, right? Much more other people, but these people have a medical experience in their life. They was in the same line, and I was so disappointed. So how in the world, they understand something well, but if something didn't happen, they don't understand really what's happened, and they was in the same line. You have to have this, and they preached. They preach it.
Yeah. I had a point I was going to bring up. I had something I was going to bring up and I forgot. Yeah, sometimes distractions will throw you off. Sorry. Okay.
Five?
I think we're on 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did I even read something for 4? Let me see if I read 442. Yeah, I've already read that. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for 5. Does anybody want to take 5? Glendale or Devin?
Yes.
Number 5 says, what great things does he do? Verse 13, note 5. Verse 13 says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And note 5, page 56 says, modern spiritualism had its rise in the Western Republic. By this deception, the devil works and will work in the last days with all power and signs and lying wonders. 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 10. Under this government will be counterfeited Elijah's great miracle of bringing down fire out of heaven. See 1 Kings 18, 36 through 39. Men have witnessed some of these wonders. More will be seen. All these are wrought to deceive. Question was again, what great things does he do? He maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And let's see. All right. I've got something to add. It says, it is impossible to give any idea of the experience of the people of God who will be alive on the earth when past woes and celestial glory will be blended. They will walk in the light proceeding from the throne of God. By the means of the angels, there will be constant communication between heaven and earth, and Satan, surrounded by the evil angels and claiming to be God, will work miracles of all kinds to deceive, if possible, the very elect. God's people will not find their safety in working miracles, for Satan would counterfeit any miracle that might be worked. God's tried and tested people will find their power in the signs spoken of in Exodus 31, 12 through 18. They are to take their stand on the living word. It is written. This is the only foundation upon which they can stand securely. The second selected messages, page 54. You have something to add?
No.
Oh, okay. What was I just going to say about that? Let me go to my next point. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
You're still working on number 5, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it's just another statement. I mean, if you got something.
Well, the statement might say.
Okay. All right. So this is from 8 manuscript release 322. It says, as we near the close of time, there will be greater and still greater external parade of heathen power. Heathen deities will manifest their signal power and will exhibit themselves before the cities of the world. And this delineation has already begun to be fulfilled. By a variety of images, the Lord Jesus represented to John the wicked character and seductive influence of those who have been distinguished for their persecution of God's people. All need wisdom carefully to search out the mystery of iniquity that figures so largely in the winding up of the earth's history. God's presentation of the detestable works of the inhabitants of the ruling powers of the world, who bind themselves into secret societies and confederacies, not honoring the law of God. That should enable the people who have the light of the truth to keep clear of all these evils. More and more will all false religionists of the world manifest their evil doings. For there are but two parties, those who keep the commandments of God and those who war against God's holy law. Okay.
Thank you. I was thinking about the part where it says calling fire down from heaven. It's not, to me, I don't think it as literal fire like it was in the past where God's fire came down and, consumed everything there with Elijah, right? But in our time, I think this false fire is this false manifestation of the Holy Spirit that you see in the apostate churches. My uncle and his family are in a Pentecostal church, and they're sometimes invited to preach. Some of their better preachers are invited to preach in the local Methodist church because they're so close. They're only like 5 miles apart from each other, and a lot of families know each other. But it will turn off some of the Methodists when some of the Pentecostal preachers will mention this stuff about, oh, so-and-so fell down on the floor and got back up and, was born again. They act like it's a miracle when this manifestation of the Spirit happens with the speaking in the tongues and falling out on the floor and all this stuff. And these people are, a lot of them, very sincere Christians, and they believe this is a manifestation of God's Spirit. But we know it's not. That it's Satan working these miracles, what seems to be miracles, And I think that it's going to be, from what I recall reading in Ellen White, these things are going to be so much more pronounced near the end of time, in conjunction with the false revival. There'll be a lot of things that are performed which will be miraculous, but they're not by God's Spirit. They're not, if it's not leading people to the truth.
Yes.
Especially with the Sunday keepers.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not leading them to Sabbath keeping, then it's not of God.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree. And also in the same instance, people who take the word for what it is, to learn the truth, they're the ones that's going to be more stable. I mean, they're not looking for all the excitement, the hoopla, and the miracles, because even Jesus would teach, if you're not accepting the word as it is right now, but yet you think a miracle is going to bring you back to this, right? It's just like, no, you have to rely on the word. And that's why I was saying that it is written. So, and that's the same way he proceeded with Satan in the wilderness. He just said, it is written. And he didn't want to go by some grandiose thing that Satan wanted to perform for him or do for him, just by bowing down. So
I was just going to say that people that are in that type of atmosphere, is they're focusing on the spirit,
mm-hmm.
where they're not focusing. I don't want to even use the word focusing, where they're not thinking about what is true. They're not thinking about the truth in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
God says he wants worship in spirit and in truth.
Yeah.
When you just take one of them, okay, you can't just take the spirit, because then you don't have the truth. You can't just take the truth, because then you don't have the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to go together.
Yeah.
You have
exactly.
to.
It's just that I think for most people, the supernatural is so captivating.
Mm-hmm.
Something miraculous or unknown, uncommon.
Right.
People are going to latch on to that and see, it must be of God if it's supernatural or miraculous. They're not going to just naturally attach that to Satan if
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like it's from Satan.
Right.
So that's why they have to study the Word to know what the Word says, that these things will be hard to tell the difference.
I was watching a video earlier this week with Matthew Shanshay, him and the guy that is with him, Matthew, and they were showing an interview of a Catholic priest doing an interview with somebody. But the Catholic priest was talking about, well, yes, I was having this conversation with Satan, and and he was just telling about all the things. And it was amazing how Matthew Sanchez was breaking it down. It's like, this is nothing but Catholicism trying to be exalted. It was really eye-opening. But to hear somebody saying they were having a conversation with Satan, that's scary. Just and acting like it's just so nonchalant, just like everyday thing that I do. That's what it looked like, and it's like,
do you think it just showed that he has a really close relationship with him? Because he not just come to you just suddenly, hey buddy,
Right.
I'm Satan, hello, how are you? No,
Yeah.
he has to have really close relationship that they have communicate to each other. So this is definitely red flag.
Yeah, and even during the whole interview, not one time did the priest even mention anything about Jesus. Never.
Of course not. Of course not.
They don't know him.
I said, of course not.
Right. So yeah.
He said he was having a conversation with Satan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's amazing about that?
What?
You know why it seems so common because of a lot of what we behold in the industry, music industry, TV industry. They say it over and over again. I speak to demons.
Right.
They must come as I act my part. You know, I don't know if anybody remembers Heath Ledger, the one that played
Heath Ledger. Yeah.
Heath Ledger. He said that.
Right.
He got to so dark in inviting these spirits so he could play that role. Now, I didn't actually see the movie.
Right.
But I heard about the movie, and he played that role.
Yeah.
And just like one of our, I'll say it, a lot of times when we watch TV or movies, or used to go to the movies, one of our most greatest actors, Denzel Washington. How many times he has admitted that?
Right.
That's why back when I was watching movies and different things, I'm like, how does he play that?
Yeah.
He says he invites the demons, that spirit in to play that role.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all we're seeing. So when the priest says that, Roman Catholic priest said that, they have over 1 billion followers, they're not even thinking about what he's saying. All they just following that system.
Right.
It's a system, and it's all around us. You know, but people go out, they spend all this money. You know, just think about something that just came about. The NBA Finals. You know, it was talking about how one ticket courtside was going to like $20,000, $30,000, and it was jam packed. I mean, you see how you know, and they were like, "Oh man, it's good to be here." I mean, it's amazing how the world is leading. As the world is leading, it's done come into the church, and especially all the other churches now is inside this church.
Right.
You know, not saying believe the truth per se, but just Seventh-day Adventist Church as a whole. It's coming in. We're going as the world is going. The world is leading, and we take a hold of it and we bring it in. It's like that's where we see what we see. You know, I had a nightmare. Just last night, I got to share this. Now, I don't know, I guess last night or early this morning. The reason why I call it a nightmare, I was in a church where the perfume was so stifling, I couldn't hardly breathe. And all I saw was backs out, fronts out, legs. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there, where am I at?
Yeah.
You know, it was, that's what it seemed like. But no, this was actual, you know, I'm like, what was that? You know, where am I at? I was in church. And I'm like, whoa. It's like, well, I don't want to go back there. You know, but it's just, you know, just everything. I mean, everything was just worldly. To the 10th degree. Yeah. I'm like, Lord, is this what we're doing now? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess something that as you get older, I've just noticed more and more that the more you study God's word and then how you're coming out of the world of all the worldly influences, you start to realize a lot of the songs you used to listen to, if you just listen to the words, it's like, you know, Satan's working through the person because this is Satan saying, I want to be like the Most High. I'm going to have my throne. And you just see the little influences in the words and then in movies and just so many different things. You can see his influence in there saying, yeah, I'm going to be exalted. It's coming. It's coming. I'm going to be exalted, you know, because that's what I want. And he's working through people in such subtle ways that people don't see it, but it's entertaining to them. Because it's something they don't know about. Something that, yeah.
I was going to say, how people, they talking about inviting the demons in and stuff like that. But don't they bring 7 of their friends?
I think that's when something is cast out, and then
Yeah, but it still, if it comes back,
Yeah.
if it comes back,
yeah.
it brings
If you're re-inviting
more.
it,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
it could be stronger.
pretty sure they re-inviting them every time.
Yeah,
So they got a lot of demons to fight.
right.
They're asking for it.
Yes.
They're asking.
And it just remind me, history are repeating, right?
Mhm.
Everything what's happened in, on the beginning, in the middle, and the end the same. So it's kind of show me that why in the beginning we have a real Christian and Gentiles. Why Gentiles love to worship their gods? You don't have to change your heart. You bring your sacrifice, you turn and do whatever you do. And again, go back, sacrifice, and don't change yourself. Don't change your life. Do whatever you love to do. God, you'll bring sacrifice. The same today. And it's just remind me when I work in Virginia, some of my coworkers says, guys, we have a special event at the church. Come, you can come in jeans, whatever you have, it doesn't matter. It's how they worship. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Yes, you can come as you are, but then you're learning from God. This is not acceptable, and He teaching you. Everything matter. Clothes is matter. Your food is matter. Your lifestyle is matter. Your words is matter. How you worship. What day is a matter. It's everything convenience today. Don't change. You want it, take it. That's what Satan teach. It's what he did, but he know that is wrong. He can never be seeing God's face. He cannot go to heaven because he lost everything. But we not yet.
Right.
Oh, amen.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to question 6. Look at that, Glendale.
For what does he use this wonder working power? Verse 14, first part. I'm going to read verse 14. It says, and deceiveth them that devil on the earth. 14? 13? 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. That's what it said, right? By the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Okay, in the first part, I have, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Right. And that's basically what we were mentioning a while ago, people that are excited by the miracles. Let's see. You got something? Okay. All right.
I want to look at this word deceive, right? And the word means to cause to stray, to lead astray, lead aside from the right way, to go astray, wander, roam about, to lead away from the truth, to lead into error, to deceive, to be led into error, to be led aside from the path of virtue, to go astray, sin, to sever or fall away from the truth, of heretics, to be led away into error and sin. So that's what it means to deceive. So we know in Matthew 24, what does it start out? Let no man deceive you, and be not self-deceived. It goes on and on and on. The book of Acts talks about, that deceiving. Paul knew when he went away, they'll come in like ravening wolves, deceiving the flock. Right? Deceive. And this is what we see is going on right now. The deception. It says here, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. Everybody is being deceived right now, one way, shape, or form, except those, of course, will come that are in the Lamb's Book of Life.
Yeah.
So most of the world is following that. I mean, do we really understand what that means? Most of the world
Right.
follow after the beast. I mean, deception is dangerous.
Yeah.
And we don't want to deceive anybody. I know I don't.
Right. And I've got something to add here too. It says, this identifies the two-horned beast with the false prophet of Revelation 19:20. It says, for this false prophet is the power that works miracles before the beast, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image, the identical work of the two-horned beast. We can now ascertain by what means the miracles in question are wrought. For Revelation 16, verse 13 and 14 speaks of the spirits of devils working miracles. And these miracle working spirits go forth out of the mouth of certain powers, one of which is the very false prophet, or two-horned beast. And this is Smith, DR, page 578. Now, would somebody take on question 7? Do 7? Okay. Okay. What does he say to the dwellers on the earth? Verse 14, the last part. He's saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Mm-hmm. And we're going to look at note 6. Note number 6. The first beast, the papacy, in the fullness of its power, is an ecclesiastical organization bringing the power of the state to the enforcement of religious observances. An image or likeness of this must be the use of civil power for enforcement of religious observances under religious organizations, not organically of the papacy itself, working in harmony with papal principles. The image is made by the two-horned beast and is an image to the beast. It is also called an image to the beast. Mm-hmm. From the Great Controversy, page 443. Okay. So yeah, they answered what it says to them that dwell on earth, they should make an image to the beast. Mm-hmm. The image to the papacy. So an image of the papacy, it's like a replication of what the papacy represents or what it does. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Making that image. And here's one from 5T or 5 Testimonies 449. It says, the false prophet had the 2 horns of a lamb, but the voice of a dragon. His profession was Christian, but his character was satanic. Jesus warned of the false prophets, which come unto you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. That's Matthew 7:15. Protestantism, which was the mouthpiece of God during the Reformation, becomes the spokesman of the dragon and is dominated by the same dragon spirit that controls the first beast. The same spirit which actuated papists in ages past will lead Protestants to pursue a similar course toward those who will remain their loyalty to God. Yeah. And then I've got several because we're probably going to finish out on this one. This one is from Early Writings, page 87. It says, I saw that the saints must get a thorough understanding of present truth, which they will be obliged to maintain from the Scriptures. They must understand the state of the dead, for the spirits of devils will yet appear to them, professing to be beloved friends and relatives, who will declare to them that the Sabbath has been changed. also other unscriptural doctrines. They will do all in their power to excite sympathy and will work miracles before them to confirm what they declare. The people of God must be prepared to withstand these spirits with the Bible truth that the dead know not anything, and that they who appear to them are the spirits of devils. Our minds must not be taken up with things around us, but must be occupied with the present truth, and a preparation to give a reason of our hope with meekness and fear. We must seek wisdom from on high, that we may stand in the day of error and delusion. We must examine well the foundation of our hope, for we shall have to give a reason for it from the Scriptures. That's why it's so important to continue to study the Scriptures, that we have that reason, that we can tell people why we believe what we believe. This delusion will spread, and we shall have to contend with it face to face. And unless we are prepared for it, we shall be ensnared and overcome. But if we do what we can on our part to be ready for the conflict that is just before us, God will do his part, and his all-powerful arm will protect us. He would sooner send every angel out of glory to the relief of faithful souls to make a hedge about them than to have them deceived and led away by the lying wonders of Satan. Yeah, to me, that's just overwhelming, the love that he has. He doesn't want to see any of us led astray. The next paragraph? Okay. I saw the rapidity with which this delusion was spreading. A train of cars was shown me, going with the speed of lightning. The angel bade me look carefully. I fixed my eyes upon the train. It seemed that the whole world was on board, that there could not be one left. Said the angel, "They are binding in bundles ready to burn." Then he showed me the conductor, who appeared like a stately, fair person, whom all the passengers looked up to and reverenced. I was perplexed, and I asked my attending angel who it was. He said, "It is Satan. He is the conductor in the form of an angel of light. He has taken the world captive. They are given over to strong delusion, to believe a lie, that they may be damned. This agent, the next highest in order to him, is the engineer, and other of his agents are employed in different offices as he may need them, and they are all going with lightning speed to perdition." I asked the angel if there were none left, and he bade me look in an opposite direction, and I saw a little company traveling a narrow pathway. All seemed to be firmly united, bound together by the truth, in bundles or companies. Said the angel, "The third angel is binding or sealing them in bundles for the heavenly garner." So that's early writings, page 87 and 88.
Have you seen that vision?
Yeah.
That picture of the train
Yeah.
down the track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, it's
On a high speed.
at a high speed.
Amtrak, high speed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, having the conductor be Satan himself. Huh? Oh, yeah. I'll stop at that question. I got, let's see. I wanted two more comments I wanted to finish up on. One was making an image to the beast. It says, closely associated with this working of miracles is the erection of an image to the beast. The prophet thus connects the two in verse 14. The deception accomplished by the working of the miracles prepares the way for compliance with this demand for the formation of an image to the beast. To understand what would constitute an image of the papal beast, we must first gain some definite idea of what constitutes the papacy itself. The full development of the beast, or the establishment of papal supremacy, dates from the famous letter of Justinian, which was made effective in AD 538, constituting the Pope, the head of the church, and the corrector of heretics. The papacy was a church clothed with civil power, an ecclesiastical body having authority to punish all dissenters with confiscation of goods, imprisonment, torture, and death. What would be an image of the papacy? Another ecclesiastical establishment clothed with the civil power? In other words, a union of church and state. How could such an image be formed in the United States? Let the Protestant churches be clothed with power to define and punish heresy, to enforce their dogmas under the pains and penalties of civil law. And should we not have an exact representation of the papacy during the days of its supremacy? To be sure, we would. And that was from Smith Dr. 590 and 591, which, I mean, he's talking about stuff you see right now with a lot of the Protestant denominations showing that type of power and how they're wanting to show people how to live, enforcing their beliefs on people. And this is from Great Controversy 592. Those who honor the Bible Sabbath will be denounced as enemies of law and order, as breaking down the moral restraints of society, causing anarchy and corruption, and calling down the judgments of God upon the earth. So we're going to be blamed for all the things that are going to be happening on the earth, just for honoring the Sabbath. Their conscientious scruples will be pronounced obstinacy, stubbornness, and contempt of authority. They will be accused of disaffection toward the government. Ministers who deny the obligation of the divine law will present from the pulpit the duty of yielding obedience to the civil authorities as ordained of God. In legislative halls and courts of justice, commandment keepers will be misrepresented and condemned. A false coloring will be given to their words. The worst construction will be put upon their motives. As the Protestant churches reject the clear scriptural arguments in defense of God's law, they will long to silence those whose faith they cannot overthrow by the Bible. Though they blind their own eyes to the fact, they are now adopting a course which will lead to the persecution of those who conscientiously refuse to do what the rest of the Christian world are doing and acknowledge the claims of the papal Sabbath. The dignitaries of church and state will unite to bribe, persuade, or compel all classes to honor the Sunday. The lack of divine authority will be supplied by oppressive enactments. Political corruption is destroying love of justice and regard for truth. And even in free America, rulers and legislators, in order to secure public favor, will yield to the popular demand for the law enforcing Sunday observance. Liberty of conscience, which has cost so great a sacrifice, will no longer be respected. In the soon coming conflict, we shall see exemplified the prophet's words. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And that's Revelation 12:17. And that's from Great Controversy 592.
It just showed me that people who will deceived, it just natural result from ignoring communication with God daily. I mean, study His word. If you don't never study His words, it's very easy to be deceived because you don't know what is written. But people who really spend their time with God daily and study, they will able to stand because they know they can identify what is truth, what is not.
Exactly. And by being steadfast and true and consistent at following the word, we'll be an example for those others, but so many will still be deceived because they don't know the word. Follow man, yeah. Okay, we'll have a word of prayer to close out. Our loving Father in heaven, thank you so much for your word, your guidance, your instruction that teaches us to have the mind of Christ and the heart of Christ, which is your heart as well. Help us to have the character of Christ, to be able to show your love and share it, and to be steadfast and true to your word, that we will be examples to others, and that love that we have for you will actually draw all other men unto you. We just pray that so many can and will be saved because so many are deceived. Help us to be that example to others as well. Your arms, your hands, your mouthpiece to those that need it. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.